Hello, my name is Anwash Rajal, and in this video I want to show you how can we provide APIs that can not only query your internal database and expose that information via that API interface, but also how can we modernize existing web services APIs and then make the information available via REST. Okay, so in the first example we're going to look at is going to be this get product. This is actually listening on this endpoint here for get products, and what this is going to do is very simple. It's going to do a select, and it's going to query my product database, and then on the next step we're going to transform that information and make that information available via in the JSON format, right? Notice if down here I have select star picked. So because of that, we have something called data sense that's available in MuleSoft that goes out and then pulls in the metadata of all the columns from that specific table. If I wanted to reduce the load, I could have picked, I could have selected 4 or 5 of these columns, because now based on the metadata, I know what the names of these columns are. So I could have put that here instead of doing a select star. That would most likely made my mapping simple. But either way, so now that I have this information, what I can do is I can go to my browser and then refresh this to say get me the products, and what it does is goes out and queries my products table, and then it's listing out these fields. Right? If I switch over to my SQL workbench, I can come in and say, run this, and then this is going to be the same products that's actually being displayed. Chai and all of these components, these are different products, right? Notice in here I see that there's certain, products that are in order and there's certain in stock. So maybe the information I care about is not just that, but I want to know not just what's in stock and what's in order, but the state of it, right? So what I could do is simply come in here and just say units. Maybe we could do actual units and just take the stock and then subtract that by the ones in order. So data weave allows me to make these simple changes so that now when I save this and wait for a second for this application to get deployed, yep, looks like it's going. Now what I can do is go back to my browser and do a refresh, and it's actually doing the subtraction and showing me, oh, this product here, we don't have actual units because the ones in order, the number in order is actually greater than what we have in stock. It's a very simple way to provide that information, make it available via an API. Okay, so the next example I'm going to do is we're going to take a look at this WSDL, this web service. If I go into my connector configuration, I can see this is the WSDL that I'm calling, right? So let me go back to my browser and make sure this is functioning. So yes, it's a functioning WSDL. Now what I want to do is simply call this, but maybe call this operation called get order by ID. This WSDL defines there's other operations that I can call, but just to keep it simple, I'm going to call this and then pass in a variable. The variable here is going to be this variable called order ID that I'm going to pass in as a query parameter, and then now my data weave is just going to take that flow variable and then format my XML to a format like this, so it passes in the order ID, and then I'm going to call this web service consumer and simply return the payload. So up until now I'm not doing anything that important just yet, right? So if I go back to my browser and type in localhost get order by ID and call it, Well, there it goes. So this order ID got passed in and made that web service call, and it's returned me the payload that it got back, right? Now, if you wanted to, we can simply use MuleSoft as a proxy. So rather than going directly to this services website, which could be hosted internally, now I can just use MuleSoft as a proxy, and this could be deployed to Cloud Hub, where I can act as a gateway, and then apply my policies to make sure I manage, secure, and govern these APIs. Or the next use case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to translate that web services message into a REST call, into a JSON format. So everything else is going to be this same, but in this case, here what I'm going to do is format the data so that it returns a JSON format, right? So we're simply just like we've seen before, we're taking that data weave and we're formatting the return payload, and then we want to map it out in the format that we want. Okay, so what I'm expecting is a JSON file with ID, status, total price, and order ID. Okay, so instead of just doing this, I'm going to say REST, and there it goes. So here's my order ID, much more consumable, much more readable, much more easier to understand than that other XML value that we're reading. Okay, now, once I have this, once I'm ready to go, ready to deploy, what I can do is come in here and say I want to deploy this to cloud, which is going to run this service in MuleSoft's Cloud Hub, which is our integration platform as a service. And then depending on what our use cases are, we can simply use it as a proxy or define this this wrapper where we wrap our web service call with REST and the data being in the JSON format. Okay, well, thank you for watching.